அதுலயும் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் தான் இருக்கு. அதுல வந்து சேர்த்து வைக்க போறேன்.
சிவபக்தர்கள் வாழ்க்கையில நிறைய முறை தோணி இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு விஷயம் என்னன்னா, சிவன் எதுக்காக
Just a day earlier, Asia had lodged a police report against two people, accusing them of harassing her online. It's believed that she took her own life after enduring relentless threats for more than a month. The grief that struck Asia's family was compounded by unanswered questions.
Pasal apa anak saya bunuh diri? Saya mau tahu, saya ibu dia. Sampai sekarang saya tak boleh tidur malam pukul 3 ni macam saya banyak sedih. Anak saya mati.
Asia's case was investigated under laws for criminal intimidation and online harassment. Two people were found guilty. 35-year-old Shalini Periasamy was fined 100 ringgit, roughly around $20 for using foul language on TikTok. 44-year-old B. Satish Kumar was found guilty of verbally assaulting Asia using his TikTok account Dulal Brothers. He was sentenced to a year behind bars. But for Asia's family, the fight for justice is far from over.
Lepas tu saya banyak marah tau. Saya mahkamah saya pergi tu hari saya tengok Shalini. Saya ingat mau pukul. Saya kasih hormat itu mahkamah. Kita tak boleh. Betul saya cakap. Itu Dulal Brothers ke siapa ke. You pun satu perempuan, you bikin perempuan macam ni lagi belagak jalan. You orang bagi denda untuk 100 saja. Nanti macam lain perempuan pun kena macam ni buat yang sama ke? Ambil yang tindakan sama ke? Takkan dia orang troll ke, macam orang akan bunuhkan dia ke, sama berlaku ke?
The outrage wasn't confined to Asia's family. Netizens flooded social media with comments condemning the perpetrators, shining a spotlight on the pervasive issue of cyberbullying. National figures reveal there were more than 9,000 reports of cyberbullying made over the last 3 years, higher than online scams. It's estimated that 10 cyberbullying cases happen each day. Activists say existing laws are insufficient to deter the crime.
As of current, our laws do not statutorily define cyberbullying or bullying. That means there isn't protection, there isn't a way to prevent, and we cannot think of mechanisms to offer support for those who have been victimized by bullying and cyberbullying. Though we do have legislations currently, like the Penal Code and the Communications and Multimedia Act, to sort of address or tackle online harms, but it's definitely not comprehensive, it's not robust enough.
The public outrage over the case stirred the government into action. Communications Minister Fahmi Fazil met with Asia's family, promising that necessary steps would be taken.
Saya sangat tak puas hati dengan apa yang berlaku, tapi kita akur bahawa mungkin cara siasatan itu kita boleh tambah baik, dan inilah yang kita telah putuskan dalam Jemaah Menteri di kalangan menteri-menteri, dan Special Task Force ini akan dibentuk minggu ini.
In August, Malaysia announced that social media and online messaging platforms with at least 8 million users in the country must apply for a license from the government. This is part of a new regulatory framework to ensure a safer online ecosystem. A code of conduct for platforms is also being drafted. The licensing regulations will kick in at the start of 2025. Meanwhile, an online safety bill is set to be tabled in Parliament in December, aimed at closing legal loopholes and creating a safer online space for children and families. The ongoing conversation about online safety has revealed a pressing concern: the need for a more gender-sensitive approach. Now, according to a global report in 2021, 85% of women experience online violence. The most common forms include hate speech, harassment, doxing, violent threats, and circulation of unwanted images or sexually explicit content. While Malaysia lacks gender-specific data, NGOs estimate that the number of cyber crimes against women here are equally critical and on the rise. But in a world where online and offline interactions constantly cross paths, how can women navigate these complexities with confidence and safety? Shakila Zen is an activist who speaks out on environmental issues. And Nandini Balakrishnan is a writer and video producer with a vast following across social media platforms. But their influence comes at a cost. Both women have faced the brutal reality of online violence, proving that speaking out has its risks. Did you both feel that at some point, because of what you said online, that your lives were in danger?
Yeah, always.
Yes,
I
always.
feel that way every single day. I used to feel safe in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I used to feel safe wherever I lived, right? I live in fear. That is that's it. Because no matter what, right, we're never going to stop saying the things we say. But people always say, oh, that's just the risk that comes with like you putting yourself out there.
One day, one parcel consists of severed head, satu patung, tangan patung berdarah. So when that jadi reality from just online punya bitterness and everything, we start to think. I start to think like, oh, I'm not safe anymore. Yeah. So, oh my God, this is quite. I don't care or I don't mind if the threats untuk I seorang, but when it comes to my family and my friends and and my community I work with, it's very hard for me. So it started from cyberbullying. It started from something you said online, but I think the fanatics will pick up what you say.
The government plans to table a new law, but is this enough?
No. For me, no. Even sometimes people don't know diorang buat tu is cyberbully because they think, oh, kelakar kot. I'm just like making fun of you. What's the big deal about it? But yeah, I think because education kita tak ajar pun what is good and bad to say to people online and everything. We don't create safe space.
Can you guarantee that once this bill is tabled and everything is like set in stone, are you going to guarantee a safe space for someone to walk in, no matter what it is, right? Whether it's in the end it's going to be considered cyberbullying and the other person people are going to be charged or not? Can these be safe spaces?
So what is the way forward? Experts say it begins at home. In today's world, digital connectivity is no longer optional, it's essential. And parents need to guide the younger generation as they navigate these online spaces.
Normally what adults would say, get off the platform. I'm going to take the phone from you. I'm going to restrict your data. But that doesn't encourage conversation about how young people can gather information so that they can make informed decisions online. It's same like if we are crossing the road, we always teach our children, this is how you cross the road. But when you get onto Instagram, you just assume the child knows immediately, right? So it's the same. And it goes back to our first conversation, right? Building resilience in the real life is as same as your life online.
As the new law awaits implementation, the responsibility to shape a safe, respectful online culture rests with everyone. Only through collective action can a safer digital world emerge, a place where women can connect and express themselves without fear of abuse.
rapist is you. The chant at a feminist demonstration in France, one of many held in recent months in support of all victims of sexual assault. Gisèle Pellico's court case in the southern city of Avignon could have been behind closed doors, but her legal team say she waived her anonymity to alert the public to drug-induced assaults. According to the National Agency for Medicine Safety, reports of substances being used to carry out sexual abuse have been increasing for the past 20 years. The suspected use of date rape drugs, as they're also known, has reached the upper corridors of power.
Je comprends alors que j'ai été droguée à mon insu. C'est ce qu'on appelle la soumission chimique.
That was Sandrine Josso, an MP for the Democratic Movement Party. In November 2023, she accused Senator Joël Guerriau of drugging her with the aim of sexually assaulting her. He denies the claim, but has been preliminarily charged with the offence while investigations are underway. The Prime Minister has asked Josso and a female senator to work on addressing sexual violence issues.
On va travailler sur des sujets importants, notamment le fait qu'on doit faire un petit peu plus de prévention pour faire aussi de la sensibilisation, repérer les victimes et aussi mieux les accompagner. Il est important qu'à la fin de notre rapport, on fasse des préconisations.
In France, the crime is rarely prosecuted. Only 15% of rape incidents reported to the police result in a sentence. A lack of confidence in the justice system, a culture of blaming victims in law enforcement, and sexist discrimination are all reasons given by women for underreporting rape and attempted rape. Activist Mathilde Caillard says this needs to change.
À chaque fois, on allait trouver juste des petits palliatifs très légers en disant aux femmes en fait, de se protéger, de protéger leur verre, de le donner à des proches, de ne pas laisser leur verre sans surveillance. Comme si, encore une fois, mais comme on va dire aux femmes, si tu veux pas te faire agresser, mais pas une mini-jupe. Mais en fait, non, c'est pas aux femmes de changer leur comportement et de se protéger, c'est aux hommes d'arrêter d'agresser les femmes.
For lawyer and activist Yelena Mondongué, rape remains normalised within what she describes as the system of France's patriarchal culture, even though the number of convictions for the crime has been rising since 2017.
It's about power. It's about men wanting to dominate their victim. And yeah, so that's one of the things that it shows that it can happen to anyone, and especially any man can rape, so that's why we have to rethink our system about that.
In 2022, women accounted for 82% of victims in date rape cases across all types of assault. Nearly 2/3 of the recorded cases were for sexual violence.
According to data from the French Interior Ministry, men are responsible for 96% of sexual assault incidents. The demonstrations are part of a movement led by women, but for change to happen, men must act.
Antoine Goretti is a comedian and content creator. He says he grew up in a household with strong female figures and says responsibility falls on young men to call out sexual aggression when they see it.
Si on ne conscientise pas le problème, on ne peut jamais le régler. Donc il faut que tous les hommes prennent conscience que oui, tous les hommes qu'on voit là ont été ou seront des agresseurs. Et à partir de ce moment-là, ils pourront faire un travail sur eux-mêmes pour se dire ok, maintenant qu'est-ce que je fais pour améliorer les choses?
Calls are growing louder for France to change the legal definition of rape. It currently includes notions of violence, coercion, threat or surprise, but many argue that the law must also incorporate consent, a move that Justice Minister Didier Migaud has said he is in favour of. This week, the UN marks the annual International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Despite the campaigning at marches like this, sexual assault remains an issue across the world.
On se réunit aujourd'hui devant les palais de justice dans toute la France, on est ici devant le tribunal de Paris, pour exiger de la justice qu'elle fasse son travail et qu'elle punisse correctement les agresseurs, les personnes, les hommes accusés de violences sexuelles, non seulement les 51 hommes qui sont accusés dans l'affaire Pellico, mais aussi tous les agresseurs. On a besoin que l'impunité des agresseurs s'arrête.
There is hope that through the bravery of Gisèle Pellico and the consequences of the trial, deeper changes in French society can take place.
women in Pakistan, daily commutes can be a traumatic experience. In a 2014 survey, 70% of female respondents said they had experienced harassment while commuting on public transport. I'm here to understand firsthand what it's like for these women and what's being done to support and protect them.
23-year-old Amma Hafiz lives in the outskirts of Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. For her daily commute to the office, she relies on a private van service, which is provided by independent operators in areas where public transportation is unavailable. Daily commutes in Pakistan can be incredibly challenging. Vans and buses are often overcrowded and poorly maintained. For women, the discomfort throughout the journey is compounded by safety concerns. The only seats designated for women are the first two seats next to the driver or the bench directly behind the driver's seat. However, drivers or conductors frequently overcrowd the bus, disregarding the designated spaces, and women find themselves squeezed among male passengers.
उनको और कोई फीमेल्स नहीं मिल रही होती तो उनको होता है कि किसी तरीके से मेल्स को सबको एक ही गाड़ी में एडजस्ट करके और एक ही गाड़ी में 10-12 लोगों को रख के और वो चला लें। फिर हम लोकल ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं और ऐसे लोगों के बीच में जिनको मौका मिले और वो कोई ना कोई बात करें या कोई मतलब कुछ ना कुछ तो वो चाहते हैं।
To address harassment on public transportation and in other public spaces, the government set up a gender protection unit in the capital city of Islamabad. Female police personnel oversee a helpline that offers women an accessible platform to report incidents of harassment. Assistant Sub-Inspector Farzana Aslam heads the division. I followed her on a recent patrol as she moved through specific areas, actively asking women if they have experienced harassment and encouraging them to report any incident.
Thank you.
We were there right now, a few minutes ago. There were like two men who came and sat right next to us, so we just moved from there to here and then they left.
कहाँ पर हुआ है? वहाँ पर?
अभी yeah, we were sitting there.
अच्छा, आपको कभी कोई कंप्लेन हो ना, आप 15 पे हमें कॉल कर लिया करें। हमारी टीम्स होती हैं यहाँ पे फिर रही होती हैं। जब आप कॉल करेंगे ना, तो हमारी टीम आ जाएगी। हम तो फिर F6 में।
मैंने ऐसी FIRs लॉन्च की जिसमें ख़वातीन के साथ राह चलते हुए गाड़ी में या गाड़ी चलाते हुए हरासमेंट हुई। तो जब हमें कंप्लेन करते हैं तो फिर हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हम उसको ऐसे ना लें कि उसको वर्बल लें, हम उस पर फिर कार्रवाई करते हैं, FIR लॉन्च करते हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग।
Even the police officers in the capital concede that many women suffer in silence, afraid they won't be believed or the driver may kick them out of the van or bus.
ख़वातीन डरती हैं, ये बात तो सच है, क्योंकि ख़वातीन अगर पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट डेली यूज़ करती हैं और उनके साथ हरासमेंट के इश्यूज़ होते हैं और वो अगर कंप्लेन करेंगी तो फिर वो पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट वाला हो सकता है उनको गाड़ी पे ना बिठाए, क्योंकि उन्होंने दफ्तर डेली जाना है और उन्हें पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट की ज़रूरत पड़ती है। तो आइडेंटिटी जो रखना है वो हम करते हैं कोशिश।
Pakistani women face unique challenges due to societal expectations, confining them to their domestic roles and tying their honor to family reputation. Women on the move are often accompanied by male family members, supposedly for added security and to ensure that they're properly veiled. In cases where women do report harassment, they often retract their complaints under family pressure.
The insecurity and harassment working class women face in their daily commute are foreign to those behind the wheel of a luxury car. But in a country where 40% of its citizens live below the poverty line, public transport is a lifeline. And so efforts are being made to change mindsets and create a safer, more supportive environment for women.
At this workshop by Aurat Foundation to raise awareness about women's rights, many participants expressed their discontent with the patriarchal society of Pakistan.
हमारे यहाँ जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, जो हमारा कैरिकुलम है, वो हमें सिविक राइट्स का बताता ही नहीं है। अगर बच्चों को शुरू से ही पता हो कि जी हरासमेंट क्या होती है, इसमें किस किस्म की हरासमेंट हो सकती है, आप हमारे यहाँ जो है आपने किसको कंप्लेंट करनी है, तो ये चीज़ें अगर हमारे कैरिकुलम में हो शुरू से ही तो बच्चे हमारे सिविलाइज होते जाएंगे।
The foundation also actively advocates for legal reforms. Through roundtable discussions, it empowers female members of the National Assembly to table resolutions for the protection and safety of women.
The government should, till we have that awareness campaigns, until we are ready for it, should have separate transport, because this is hindering, and women, you know, even if they don't report, they within themselves, they stop using it. And when they stop using the public transport, they can't contribute in our national economy also.
The ongoing efforts by authorities and NGOs are making progress in empowering women to speak up against male misconduct. But the road to assuring women of their safety is still paved with obstacles. For millions of girls growing up in Pakistan today, their future hinges on how soon these challenges can be addressed.